Okay, what up ladies and gents? It's your favorite Asian robot right here. I'm one of the official creators for Last Epoch, and today I'm going to go through a basic crafting guide for Last Epoch. This is to teach you all about the crafting system in Last Epoch and what you need to know, the basics of which, alright, to get you started in the game. There's going to be some advanced crafting tips and things like that, which you can ask me on stream. And of course, a guide will be produced at a later date once I have everything that I need. But for now, I'm just going to teach you the basics and explain how the crafting system works. So first, let me remove my camera so that we can go through this. And then I'm going to show you everything you need. All right? So, the basics of crafting works like this. When you open up your forge, which you will get as you progress through your main storyline, you can place any item into the forge. So, let's put in this item right here, the Guardian's Kite Shield, okay? Every item will have a forging potential. What does this forging potential do? The forging potential, alright, is what is used for crafting. If you were to, just as an example, increase the armor modifier on this by inputting an armor affix shard, it would cost you between 1 to 12 forging potential. You've got a total of 30. So upgrading this, and it always upgrades by 1 tier whenever you forge, alright, will cost you a random amount of forging potential. This is what is important to understand, alright? So you might be able to forge an item multiple times if you're very lucky and all the forging potentials are really small, or you might only be able to forge an item twice or 3 times, alright? That is the RNG factor in crafting. Now, every item can go up to rare potential. A rare has 4 affixes attached to it. 2 of them are prefixes, 2 of them are suffixes. Okay? If you go into your crafting materials tab, under affixes, any affix, right? It will show you all of the affixes that you own, and it will show you what are prefixes and suffixes. You can even sort by prefixes, or you can sort by suffixes. Alright? A prefix affix cannot be applied to a suffix slot, so be aware of this. Now, every item has a limit to what prefixes and affixes can be applied. If, for example, I were to select this slot here, which is the prefix slot, okay, it would show me what I can apply to this particular item, and it will show me what is currently applied. So on this necklace, alright, I can apply pretty much, oops, sorry, don't know why that vanished. But I can apply any of these prefixes that I've got shards for. Physical damage, poison penetration, any of these can be applied to this amulet. Alright, same for the suffixes. If I were to swap to the suffixes here, okay, it'll show me all the suffixes that I have available to be applied. And if there are any that cannot be applied, it will let me know. Alright, so this is what I can apply right now. Okay, now that you understand this, let's take a look at an example of forging. Let's say I want to forge this necklace, okay? Let's take a look at increasing a stat that is already on this necklace. Now, for the sake of making sure that I can forge this multiple times, we're going to use a Glyph of Hope. Alright, this gives a 25% chance that when we forge, there will be no forging cost. I'm only going to use this for demonstrative purposes. You do not need to use this in your actual crafting. I'm just going to do this so that I can craft this multiple times and demonstrate a few other things to you, alright? So, when I click upgrade affix, right, it will consume, now this one consumed 2 forge potential. It went from 23 down to 21, and my minion health has gone from tier 1 to tier 2, alright? It will always go up by 1 tier. Take a look at this. If I were to upgrade dodge rating instead, alright, same system, it goes to dodge rating tier 2. This time it went from 21 down to 13. That cost us 8 forging potential. Alright, so forging potential is always going to cost you something. You have to be careful of that. Okay, now, what is next? Let's try applying a prefix, to this item. Let me see. Let's just, for the sake of fun, we'll add physical damage onto this item. Okay, it will cost between 1 to 18 forging potential. Let's go. In this particular case, it only cost me 1, and I was able to add a tier 1 physical damage onto this necklace. Let's do it again. This time we're going to add suffixes. Alright, here are the suffixes that I can apply. There are none that are restricted to me. Let's add physical resistance to this. Okay, so once again, bing. Now this one consumed all 12 forging potential. So although theoretically I can get any of these items up to tier 5, if you were to take a look at one of my forged items here, you'll notice I've got tier 4, tier 5, tier 6. You see, this is after forging, right? But I got very lucky with this item. The item that we were currently experimenting with already has 0 forging potential. It cannot be forged any further, even though these items are all tier 1s, tier 2s, and I have more shards remaining. So remember, your item can only be forged by as much forging potential as you have. If you run out of forging potential, that item cannot be forged any further. Alright? Exalted items have much larger forging potential than rare items. Exalted items are something that you will find in your journey. Okay? And in this particular case, if we look at prefixes, alright, take note that remember the necklace had a much longer list of prefixes? Not every single affix can be applied, alright? There's a lot that cannot be applied. In this case, this is because these are suffixes, but only certain affixes and only certain prefixes and suffixes can be applied to each individual item. Alright, so you won't be able to have every single thing. Like here, I can't add void damage or any of the other damages that I wanted to add, but on a necklace, it is possible. Alright, so just do take note of that. In this particular case, if I were to say add, just as an example, minion health, I could do that and it will be the same system. See, this becomes tier 1 minion health. It consumes 17 forging potential. Now this was a very unlucky outcome, right? Remember, that's always going to be RNG. So now this thing has 4 stats onto it. Okay, minion health is now there, and there you go. Now I'm also going to teach you a little bit of advanced crafting here. Every single item, if you press the alternate button on the keyboard while looking at an item, it'll show you what is the current tier of the blessing you have on it, of the affix that you have on it. So for example, minion health is tier 1, but it can roll between 18% to 41%. Okay, and every single item, like even this one, it has a range. So here I've got a tier 5 increased spell damage, all right, -3 spell mana cost. It can roll between 41 and 50. All right, so just because you forge something to tier 5 doesn't mean that it's going to be the same as the tier 5 in another item. All right, each item tier has a range that it can roll. Some affixes do not have ranges. All right, so be aware of that. Those that do, well, you can always check. And if you want to maintain your range, there are ways to do that, but that'll be covered in the advanced crafting guide. The last thing I'm going to teach you in this basic crafting tutorial, now that you understand forging potential, how to add affixes, suffixes, and to upgrade affixes and suffixes, the last thing I'm going to teach you is how to shatter items. You will need a rune of shattering. Runes of shattering are available from any merchant, all right? So Anya the blacksmith, you can purchase runes of shattering. So let's buy a few, all right? So we'll buy up all these runes of shattering and we just transfer materials. All right, this transfers it into our crafting inventory. Now, any shards you find do the same thing. Transfer materials, it all goes into your crafting materials inventory, and you can use it from here. Now, if I wanted to shatter the shield, I would go here and go Rune of Shattering. What this does is that it destroys an item, creating a random number of affix shards containing its powers. Take note that this is random. You may not get all the shards that you spent back. You may not even get shards. Some of the times that I have shattered items that have, say, +1 summon golem or +1 skeleton skill, alright, I did not get a single shard back. Okay, so it is a bit of random chance. Again, this is another RNG side of crafting, but it's not that bad because the amount of loot that you're going to get is quite fantastic in this game. So, let's say I'm tired of the shield, I want to get the affixes here. So let's input a Rune of Shattering and shatter this. Now, remember, it's got block chance, endurance, armor, minion health. Let's see what we get back. I got block chance, armor, and endurance. I did not get my minion health back, okay? That is a random chance. And you may not always get the same number of shards. Like, for example, it might be a tier 5 prefix or suffix, but you may only get back 2 shards. You may only get back 1 shard, okay? Remember that the Rune of Shattering only creates a random number of shards. Here's another thing. You can also use something called a Rune of Removal, okay? But you cannot use it when the item has no forging potential. What does this Rune of Removal do? Let me show you. This Rune of Removal is another useful tool for crafting because it will consume some forging potential, but it will remove one of the affixes. I don't actually recommend using this unless you are very confident that you have so much forging potential that you are going to be able to craft what you want onto the item afterward. Okay? And it will remove a random one. So honestly, the Rune of Removal is something that I rarely ever use unless I'm really, really desperate to take apart an item piece by piece. Because what it will do, the Rune of Removal, the difference that it has with the Rune of Shattering is that the Rune of Shattering will create a random number of Affix shards. The Rune of Removal will guarantee you the number of shards equal to its tier. So, let's try it out. If we use the Rune of Shattering, Rune of Removal right now, and that one does physical resistance, it was tier 1, we got back 1 shard. Let's do it again. Okay, that was tier 5 necrotic resistance, we got back 5 shards. Tier 6 critical strike multiplier, bada bing bada boom, we get back 6 shards. Alright, and this was very lucky because this now is a gray item with 28 forging potential. I can put whatever suffixes and affixes I want on it now. That was all due to the fact that I had Glyph of Hope here. Again, I'm using this for demonstrative purposes. But if you ever want to, and you're going to find a lot of these, by the way, you can use this to basically help yourself and ensure that you can craft a little bit more than normal. If you're very lucky, you can craft nearly perfect items thanks to this. All right? That about sums it up for the basic crafting tutorial. Now you understand the following things. What have you learned in this simple tutorial? You have learned, number 1, how to add affixes and suffixes to items. You understand how the crafting system works, what forging potential is. Most importantly, you've learned how to shatter items, how to remove affixes and suffixes, how to remove affixes in general. All right, I keep getting confused with that lingo. And that is basically it. That is all you're going to need for your basic crafting journey. There will be an advanced crafting guide coming at a later time, but I hope this helps you to understand the system of crafting in this game, all right, and what you can do with your items. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more tips for Last Epoch. And thank you very much to the channel members who make all of our stuff possible. Thank you to all the people in March. Nightshade, Chanel, thank you for being the first in March to support the channel. Remember, if you support me on stream with super chats, things like that, I'll be mentioning you in upcoming videos and all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you to Nisk, our only fan, okay, and some of our Plus Ultra members, just Death Dawning and Arcane. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.